I'm gonna also, I think I saw Mary Fitzgerald. So Mary, I'm also gonna make you a co-host. Hopefully we can have you also helping let people in, as I'm going to be doing the slides as well. Okay, good morning, everyone. You are here. Hopefully you know what you're here for, but I'll remind you. So this is every month our Homeless Continuum of Care does a training oriented towards homeless service providers. And we do different topics. And this month we're doing a training about how to connect clients to workforce development services and employment services. And what we're trying this time is a big panel of people where each of them are gonna talk just for like a little bit about their kind of program, but there are slides that are gonna have a lot more information, and you're gonna have contact information for folks. So if you're like, hey, I have folks that I'm working with in this particular population, maybe it's veterans, maybe it's folks that are doing migrant farm work, maybe you're working with transition-age youth, you'll be able to follow up with them and have a more meaningful conversation and get, you know, sort of better information. But we just want you to have a little taste of things. So I'm going to keep you muted unless you're presenting. We are going to record this, so it's already recording. We will send out the slide deck and the recording to everyone after the training. And I guarantee you someone will ask, and we're going to answer it in the chat, or you are welcome to answer it in the chat. Yes, they're going to send it to us. Don't worry. So you will get all this information, and especially if you have colleagues that couldn't make it today, that's okay. We are going to share all of this information. So let me pull up this ginormous slide deck. Okay, hold on one second. And again, feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat. And I don't know why mine is not. Okay, show all windows. There we go. Okay. So today, as I said, we are going to do a training about how to connect clients to employment. So just super quick housekeeping. So we're asking folks to put comments or questions in the chat, or when it's time, when the presenter says taking questions, you can raise your little virtual hand. We have so many people. We have 126 people on here. I don't think we're going to be able to see your video if you're like frantically waving. So please try chat or raising your virtual hand, and we're going to ask you to mute yourselves. Basic training norms that we always talk about. Basically, if you're a big talker, maybe try and step back. If you tend to be more shy, this is an opportunity to step forward and ask some questions, asking you to respect the attendees and the trainers. For most of you, this is familiar. So this is a required training. We have a number of required trainings that we offer, and they're hosted for the most part the second Monday of every month. Some are required, and this is actually one that's required. I'm going to talk about this in a minute, sort of why and what HUD, who's our largest funder of homeless programs and services, is looking for. And Shelby, I'm actually going to jump over this part just in the interest of time, but just a reminder that for those of you that are funded through HUD or through H3, like this is we're actually monitoring the attendance for agencies, because we need to be able to show that our providers were trained, and so we're just to make sure that you all know it's really important to show up to these. But if you obviously know that because you're here. A little bit about the goal of this training. So learning how to connect, and this is what HUD says they want us to be training on. So basically making sure that providers know how to connect people with formal and informal employment opportunities. And then in our own system written standards, we have a little bit of language about that. Basically, it's important, you know, employment is one of the ways that we can potentially help our clients that we're working with get and keep their housing if they have the capacity to work. So I'm not going to spend time on this, but I want you to know I have these in the slides. So this is showing you what HUD is actually looking at. So when we have to enter all this stuff into HMIS, at the end of the year, we have to actually show HUD what all of our providers are doing and whether they're helping our clients, with income growth and employment. We also have data that shows what led to people's homelessness, and for more than a quarter of them, employment loss was a factor in their becoming homeless. This is some statewide data, and so we can see that almost 20% of folks that are experiencing homelessness are working. So I think sometimes there's this fallacy of like, well, people just can't work or they don't want to work. People can and are working, and so part of what we're doing is trying to help them get employment, better paying employment. This is a little bit about barriers. And again, I know I'm blowing through this, but we're gonna give you guys all these slides so you can look at them later. And then the other piece, so we're always trying to think with the lens of equity. And so one of the things that we know in the United States is that there are big inequities, especially looking at race and ethnicity, about not just getting work, but the kinds of jobs and having, quote, good jobs or jobs that might actually lead to somebody being able to hold stable housing or support their families. So there are some big inequities around that. So that's just a thing to think about as we're going forward. And again, some equity issues to continue. So just thinking about all these presentations with an equity lens, do you see differences in different groups of people? And are there things you're going to hear about, some special programs for different groups of people, some of them hoping to address some of those inequities? Okay, so that was wicked fast. I am going to start a timer for myself. And so presenters, I am gonna just pop on in terms of audio when you have about 5 minutes left of your presentation, and then again at 1 minute. So right now I'm gonna turn things over to folks to talk about adult education, ESL. And with that, I'm gonna shut up and you tell me when you want your next slide.
Jamie, this is Victoria. I'm going to just do a quick intro, and I'm listed for the ESL. We did this early on, but in reality, Maureen Campbell is also going to do ESL. So if I may just introduce our group and to say thank you so much for the opportunity. We are Mount Diablo Adult Education, also known as Mount Diablo Unified School District Adult Education, because we are a K-12 based adult education program. Then they're going to talk about some of our various programs. I do want to mention that we serve the community. We are seeing record numbers this year in our enrollments, which is not unexpected on our part. And we do have students, adult students from 18 up to no age limit particularly. Many of them re-entry, many of them coming into the workforce first time or changing jobs or trying to improve or retain a job. Many of them, I should not say many, we do have homeless students, but we do have many who do not have stable housing also. So with that, I would like to just turn it over to you, Andrea, our Workforce Programs Coordinator, who also oversees our American Job Center of Contra Costa County here at Mount Diablo Adult Education, the Loma Vista Adult Center.
Thank you, Victoria. Good morning, everybody. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our career and technical education programs here at Mount Diablo Adult Education. Our tagline you can see from the opening slide here is all of our programs are under a year in length, which is really great because students can earn a program certificate in under a year. And go ahead to the next slide. And we're conveniently located. Now, many of you, if you're not that familiar with Mount Diablo Adult, have probably heard of the Loma Vista Adult Center, which is the name of our campus in Concord. And this is where all of our CTE programs are located. And it's very convenient because it's within 2 blocks of the Concord BART station. So easy to get here, and for students who do drive, our parking's free. So there's no permit at this time or fee required to park in the parking lot. Next slide. So some benefits of CTE for post-secondary, our students do need to have the admissions requirements for CTE are to have a high school diploma and be 18 years of age or older. You will be hearing a little bit from Robin from our high school program in a while about getting a high school diploma or equivalency. But one of the great things about CTE at our school or CTE programs is just the focus on career-specific skills. So although we do embed some general skills such as math and writing, and our students take a reading CoC test as part of the admissions process, the main focus in the programs is their career-specific skills. And for that, we provide lots of different types of learning activities. So they're not just listening to a teacher lecturing. There's lots of small group work and then lots of hands-on experience, both in the classroom and at their externship sites. And all of our programs, and they fall into the categories of allied health and business and technology, include an externship experience. Our instructors are all credentialed as well. And that's okay, you can go on to the next one. These are the programs that we're running currently in fall of 2024-25, except for our CNA, which we hope to start late in the fall or early in our winter term after the first of the year. And you can go on to the next slide and I'll talk a little bit about each one of them. We have an administrative assistant program where students can learn to become an admin in less than 7 months. Now, this is a little longer actually than some administrative assistant programs offered by adult schools or in the area because it's very comprehensive. So we include lots of computer and keyboarding skills and business office, employment readiness skills. And then we have several great business offices that participate with us as externship sites. So the students spend about 6 to 8 weeks following the classroom training, working in one of the offices and applying their skills on the job. And one of the great things about the admin assistant program, this is kind of almost like our portable certificate. So although many of our students will graduate and go on to become admin assistants, they're also prepared with computer and business skills and soft skills that they could use in many other careers in an office with other titles. So there's some flexibility for students on graduation with the types of jobs that they get. And you can go on to the next slide. We have a CNA, Certified Nursing Assistant program. This is a short program. It's about 11 or 12 weeks, so they can finish this in less than 3 months. And most CNAs work in skilled nursing facilities. So in addition to the skills that you see listed there, they do get hands-on experience throughout the program in a skilled nursing facility or in skilled nursing facilities that we partner with. And the skills that they learn are bathing, dressing, vital signs, mobility assistance, assisting with meals, and more. And you can move on to the next slide. We have a great dental assistant program. It's approximately 10 months long, and the students learn the skills to work as part of a dental team. There's lots of different skills they'll be learning. The dental offices are very busy, and we have lots of great dental offices that participate as externship sites. So again, like our other programs, after they complete the classroom training, they complete approximately 6 to 8 weeks in a dental office. It's not required to be licensed to be a dental assistant in the state of California. However, it is beneficial if they take and pass the RDA, which is the Registered Dental Assistant exam. through the Dental Board of California. So we prepare the students to pass that exam as part of this program. And you can go to the next slide. Thank you. Emergency Medical Technician, or EMT. This is approximately 5 months long, and they're learning the skills needed to provide medical care to patients in emergency situations. There are some related occupations. So most of our students go on to work as EMTs for at least a period of time, but they may have a goal of becoming a paramedic, firefighter, dispatcher, ER tech, and other related job titles. They do need to be licensed to become an EMT in California. The name of the certification is the NREMT. That's the National Registry for Emergency Medical Technicians. And the students are preparing throughout the program to pass that test. As part of the program, they participate in 2 or 3 ambulance ride-alongs, so they get lots of actual experience on the job as well in this program. And you can move on to the next slide.
And I just want to note, so for your section, the ESL and adult basic and secondary education, we have about 15 minutes left for the whole section.
Okay, and I think we only have one more program here. So, and so medical assistant is a very popular program. We just started a new one today, as a matter of fact, with about 22 students, I believe. And they can learn to become a medical assistant in less than 7 months. This includes the externship. They're learning both front and back office skills. So the back office is where they take the patient back into the exam room, take their vital signs, and assist as needed during the appointment. And then some of the front office things would be scheduling appointments and other office duties, maybe insurance claims. And of course, they have to become familiar with the HIPAA regulations. And we have lots of great offices as well for externship for this program. And I think I have a couple closing slides. We have financial aid available. This is very important. Many of our students apply for and get Pell Grants for 3 of our programs that are Pell Grant eligible. The shorter programs just don't meet the hours requirement for Pell Grants, but we do have other types of funding, both through the WIOA, Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, and Patty will be talking more about that just shortly. And then there are other types of funding available. For students who are self-pay, all of our payment plans are interest-free, and they're paid off by the time they finish the program, so they don't have any student debt upon graduation. And I think that's it, but go ahead to the next slide. There's lots of student support here. So one of the great things is, the students are not a number. We know them and we know their names. They can pop in to see us if needed in the offices. We provide academic support. We have a media center with computers where they can study. It's open 4 days a week. And of course, our AJCC Career Center. And we even have a free hot lunch program in partnership with Loaves and Fishes. And I think that's it. This is just the contact information. So thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. While we transition to ESL, which Maureen Campbell, Vice Principal, is going to do, I do want to mention that we also, for the EMT, which is a new model, a pilot program we have with the Workforce Development Board, that we have an articulation agreement for students to earn college credit at Contra Costa College to transition if they wish to paramedic. Thank you. And I think we can go on if you're ready, Maureen.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Victoria. I will do my best to speak on our ESL program. I am new to this program this year. I spent the last 2 years overseeing our adults with disabilities and our high school program. So I hope that I do the program justice as I speak on that today. We have three separate kind of pathways that you can take, excuse me, through our ESL program. We have our general language acquisition classes that we offer at the beginning and intermediate levels. Like many other educational programs across the state, we are experiencing some instructor shortages. And so we are trying to provide classes where we find most of the student need is. So that tends to be at the beginning and intermediate levels. We also have a family literacy program where you can attend your classes while your child participates in a school readiness program. And this is specifically geared towards students or students with children ages between 3 to 5. And then lastly, we have some specialized classes. So we offer ESL for the workplace, introduction to health careers in the hopes that they'll, find interest and move on to one of our CTE programs. We also offer citizenship preparation and project access classes. And we do offer citizenship digitally as well. So we do have distance learning for that as well. Next slide, please. This is just a sample of our class offerings. We understand absolutely that when you're working with adults, life happens, things happen. You're going to work or you're dealing with family members or children or, so we really try to accommodate that as best we can. So we offer morning classes, afternoon classes, and evening classes as well. So that's just a kind of a tentative sample schedule or some class offerings there. And then next slide. We do have some student supports. We offer one-on-one specialized placement. So if you're unsure of what your level is, our staff works very closely with you to determine the best class for you. So we want to make sure that you're really getting the best support that you can and the best education that you can. Again, we offer self-paced distance learning for our citizenship program and our English at Home program. And then, like Andrea mentioned earlier, we do have our America's Job Center of California here on our campus that is always accessible to all the students in all of our programs as well. And then next slide. So that was a very, very quick, brief overview for ESL. This is our contact information, and our staff is wonderful and ready and willing to help. So please do not hesitate to contact us if you have questions. And then, thank you. Next slide. So this is our high school program, and we can roll into the next one. Thank you. So our high school program has 3 different pathways. We have adult basic education, and this is where it will help you improve basic reading, writing, math, and computer skills. This can help you with trade apprenticeship examinations if you need, if you're just needing to brush up on skills to support your students and their homework, or if you are seeking employment, just general employment, or also promotion while working. We also have our high school equivalency program, and this is where we offer test prep study classes to help prepare you for the GED and or HiSET exams. And then we also have our diploma pathway, and this is where if you were close to graduating school, but you didn't quite finish and you only have about 20 or 30 credits left and you'd like to get your diploma as opposed to your GED, then these classes will help you earn those remaining credits you need in order to earn that high school diploma. Next slide, please. So this is, again, one of our class schedules. Again, we understand life happens, families, things like that. So again, we offer morning and evening classes. And our high school program classes are 1 day in person and 1 day online. So we find that this kind of really helps support the students, and some who, if you need that one-on-one and you need that time with the instructor, you've got the day that you can be there to do that. But then if you're someone who is really struggling with children or family or things, and it's easier for you to just log in from home, we offer that option as well. Next slide, please. Thank you. We offer several supports for our high school students. What's most people don't know is the individual education plans, or IEPs, actually can support students up to the age of 22. So many students think that their IEP cancels out when they graduate and that it does not roll over into adult education, but it actually does. So we do offer IEP support. We do have case managers and resource specialists that will help you with that if needed. We also have MAP meetings, and these are my action plans. And this is a one-on-one meeting with the program coordinator. And she will sit down with you and really map out, what is your goal? How would you like to get there? What does your schedule look like? And really help you try to figure out the best direction for you and how to get you there the fastest. Because we want you getting on and moving on to those other things in your life. We do have a transition specialist on site who will help with one-on-one support with job searches, college registration, career training, and applying for FAFSA. And then again, the AJCC is always there for all the students in all of our programs. And then we try, again, we know if you're one of our evening students and you're coming from a long day of work, we know it's really hard to get into the class. And we know you're tired, you've got your kids at home, or you just want to go home and have dinner and get comfortable. So we really work to make the classes entertaining for you and engaging for you. So we also provide field trip opportunities. We have one coming up in the fall, pretty soon, I believe. We have guest speakers who come in. So our instructors will speak with each class and find out what is the interest, what is the need, and they will work with community organizations and careers to bring in the guest speakers that will relate and connect and interest the students. And then we have focus groups. So we'll group students within the classroom who have similar goals, so that they can work on goal setting together and work together to kind of try to meet those similar goals. And then next slide, please. And yeah, I think that was a very, very quick little summation of what we do in high school. And again, this is all of our contact information. And again, like the ESL, they're a wonderful team and they're always willing and available to help. So please, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. Thank you so much.
And I think what we're going to do is take questions in the chat for right now, because I want all the presenters to get a chance to present. But you can have dialogue with the presenters in the chat if you have questions. And we're also going to have a little time at the end, and you have people's contact info. Okay, we're going to turn things over to Patty.
Good morning, everyone. Happy, not Friday. I'm already skipping ahead. Happy Monday. Like Jimmy said, it's Monday. So bear with me here. I am with Rubicon Programs, and I am a WIOA career coach. And I want to talk to you a little bit about just really the bullet points of WIOA and what is offered. Rubicon Programs is proud to partner with 9 local organizations of employment service providers from San Pablo all the way to Brentwood, and all the parts in between, to provide career and employment services to job seekers in Contra Costa County. And how do we do that? Well, I'm glad you asked. Through WIOA, which is the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. WIOA was enacted under the Obama administration in 2014. And simply put, it's a federal program that filters funds through the workforce development boards across the country. So the CCWC, which we call the Contra Costa Workforce Collaborative. I think we can go to the next slide. I'm not really looking at the screen. There we go. I know we've mentioned a few times here the AJCC, our Mount Diablo staff. I'm sorry, I failed to say that though I am with Rubicon Programs, I am at our partner site, Mount Diablo Adult Education Center. So I'm there 3 days a week. Back to our partners, the collaborative is made up of 9 different local organizations, our adult schools, as you can see in the slide, all our wonderful partners in this collaborative. And our mission is to prepare job seekers for the world of work with employment and training services and connect them to employers that are looking for great talent. We can go ahead and skip to the next slide. These partners also offer, like I was saying, AJCC access points where job seekers can utilize resources the resources that they need on their employment journey. So access to computers, fax. I'm sorry, I think I had you skip. I might be looking at the wrong slide. It's okay. There you go, that one. And let's see, job fairs, on-site recruitments. We have some wonderful employers that come on-site and have on-site recruitments. We have wonderful workshops at our access points, resume writing, interview skills, how to dress for the workplace, just a bunch of resources that our job seekers have access to. And then let's see, I think the next slide is the one there we go. Thank you for bearing with me. Our WIOA career coaches assess the skill sets of participants in order to provide training in high demand industries that lead to good paying jobs. So some of our participants may connect with the career coach because they are simply looking for to get back to the workforce. So maybe it's been several years since they've had their resume looked at. And so they need someone to look at their resume. Is it acceptable? How can I improve on my resume? Maybe they need interview skills. And then a majority for me of my clients are seeking what we call career services. So they need a little guidance in what's my next step. The job that I have now is not making ends meet, or I'm looking for a greater opportunity. And that's how I'm able to help them with trying to figure out which training program they might want to go into. Andrea mentioned some wonderful programs at Mount Diablo. We have several on what we call the eligible training providers list in CalJobs. And I help connect them to those training programs. WIOA will cover up to potentially $5,000 for training, for tuition, to complete these programs. Let's see here. And we're going to go ahead and move on to the eligibility. Next slide, please. In order to be eligible for WIOA, you do have to have the right to work in the U.S., so be at least 18 years of age. Provide a copy of your California driver's license or ID, or a passport or U.S. birth certificate. Provide a copy of your social security card. And for males born after January 1st, 1960, present selective service verification. The other requirement is to create a CalJobs account, which is the official site of the state of California. It's the platform that we use to process the WIOA application. A little more about that. We do have priority of service priority population. And so if individuals meet the priority population, they have access to the funding. So anyone has access to WIOA services with their basic eligibility, but those that are priority of service have access to funding for the training program. So if you are low income, you receive public assistance, an English language learner. If you're unemployed, you're what we call a dislocated worker. If you are a veteran or eligible spouse, or if you are basic skills deficient. So those are some of our priority populations. We do have also priority industries that we are funding, and those are the industry of healthcare, advanced manufacturing, construction, ICT, and transportation and logistics. So that's kind of the brief version. On my last slide is just directing anyone who might be interested to our bounce back to start the process. Excuse me, on this website, you'll be able to see some more videos about WIOA, the WIOA orientation, a resume, cover letter, and job search videos. But then at the bottom, there's a submission form. You can enter your name, address, details, and you will be connected to one of our career coaches. That is the super quick bullet point version of WIOA. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions. I'll put my information in the chat.
Y'all are heroes. I know this is a very tall order to get through all of this in a short period of time. This is really like the snack version of all of this. And I'm hoping if we get through everybody's slides, we'll have a little slush at the end to answer questions. One of the other questions I'll just flag for everybody, somebody asked earlier, and I think this goes for all of the speakers. Obviously, WIOA folks have to have right to work in the US, but there were questions about like, how do we support undocumented folks? So if you have information about that, we also, that question will probably come up at the end as well. And with that, I'm going to turn things over to Ron. Ron, if you're speaking, you're muted.
Good.
Oh, there we go. Nope. There we go.
My apologies. My apologies. Again, my name is Ron Thomas, site manager of our Conquer site, Rubicon Conquer site. I'm also the project manager of our parenting program, and believe it or not, the office manager as well. I've been working for Rubicon going on about 12 years now. We work with the reentry population, and we also work with DCSS, assisting folks in with their parenting skills, and also assisting them in possibly getting custody, visitation, and all the other kind of stuff. But the reentry population is one of our main projects that we work with. We work with folks on recently released from parole, recently released from prison on parole, and the AB 109 population. Most of our population are homeless, living in SLEs, especially here in East County, and as well as as Richmond is not as prevalent as it is here in East County, as far as the population that we serve. Criteria for our program is that you've been in custody in the last 2 years for at least 30 days. You're required to attend a 2-week workshop, which entails changing of the mindset, life skills. A lot of folks spend a lot of time in prison, didn't do some of the things they probably had an opportunity to do, such as study and understand and get more of their education. So we prevent ourselves from trying to be judgmental, and we just offer them these type of criteria, so to speak, to move forward in their lives, and listening to what we have to offer them in our workshops. Our parenting program, what has happened with that is that we have a contract with Center Force. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with Center Force. Center Force runs our 2-week also workshop where they teach them parenting skills. Not to say they don't know how to parent, it's just better or different parenting skills, which has also helped the community out tremendously. DCSS works with us very closely. We have a partner relationship with that organization, and we found that the parenting component plays a big part in them wanting to get motivated to get employment. And I mean, go back to the 2-week workshop, which is different from the workshop with the Force offers. We do resume writing. Well, first of all, we have an impact coach, we have an employment coach, we have a career advisor, we have a wellness coach, and along with the, career employment coach. And all those different service areas will allow them to touch everything they may need and we'll assist them in taking care of all of that. We provide transportation for them. We excuse me, food if need be. We have clothes closets, and like I said earlier, most of these folks live in SLEs, and which has been somewhat cumbersome for them to adhere to the obligations that they have at the SLEs versus coming to our office for 2 weeks for these workshops. However, having said that, we do provide laptops, hotspots for them to take. They can have them once we give them, so they can either take the classes virtually or they can come into the office, which has been very advantageous for them to continue to do with their obligation to keep their housing and also being in compliant with Rubicon has asked of them to do. We've been doing the parenting program. I'm sorry, I'm bouncing around with this. We've been doing the parenting program since 2012. We switched over, we had a HUD grant for many years, and we switched that over to our reentry population, I believe it's in 2015, 2016, which is looking forward to making our community much more healthier and better, and folks being involved in all that has shown a great impact in our numbers as far as being employed, obtaining their own housing, getting their folks getting their children back in their lives, and working with DCSS. And as you may know, folks, they owe money, they owe arrears, and we've gotten a lot of those things removed, those barriers removed from that. And also our legal team works with folks who may obtain employment through us, but after the 90-day situation comes about, they could possibly lose their jobs. We've been able to go and fight those cases for them and had a large percentage of those participants get their jobs back. We leverage a lot of our funds in 4 different areas. There's assets, financial literacy, financial stability, and behavioral health. I mentioned the legal situation. And all 3 of those areas we found are very, very helpful. And I'm not speaking to the choir, so to speak. A lot of our participants come through here very ignorant to a lot of things that can be advantageous to them. Again, I'm not blaming them for that. It's just part of the lifestyle that they had lived in. A lot of our participants come from prison that served 30, 40 years in prison, and they really have lost touch to a lot of what we take for granted. And we take the time, again, without judgment, and guiding them through this whole situation in their life and changing their whole mindset. So, Jamie, unless there's something else, that's about it. I think I kind of mentioned the intake and tier process, and I guess I will again here. The intake we do 2 different intakes. We go into the jails, the county jails, I should say, and do preliminary an assessment on the individuals. Folks coming in, whether they're being referred from probation or from our SAFE, the network program network within Contra Costa County, would schedule an appointment with them and do the intake and find out if they're aligned with our services. The tiers, we talk about tiers 1 and 2. Tiers 1 will allow the individual to come to any one of our 3 sites to participate in the program. And we have what we also call tier 2, folks who live in SLEs, having children at home, not able to make it to the 2-week workshop. Tier 2 is that they would do their classrooms on what we call Google Classroom. It's a virtual classroom. They get the same information, but it's also one-on-one. And that's been very successful as well. A job readiness program, they work with the employment coach and starting the resume writing and being able to understand that financial coach literacy, where they learn budget, how to budget, and those kind of things that go along with that. The employment coach works with small crews for job search. They meet into what we call our computer lab. Whenever they come in, it's normally about 4 or 5 folks in there every day, where there's job postings, and they learn, how to use a computer, how to do job search, how to fill out an application, and things that go on in that nature. Vocational and career advising, each site has one. That's for careers, and we work very closely with WIOA to get those opportunities with the truck driving, nursing school, going to college, and all this, costs money. WIOA helps out with that, and so does Rubicon. Even though WIOA is another entity of Rubicon, we're very separate. Dollars come from different places. One of the things that are required of us is to look for job search placements and retention. That's one of the things we pay very close attention to, getting information from the employer and getting information from the participant. We want to know where you are in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and a year. And each one of those milestones, the first can actually produce financial benefits for them. First job, they get $100, and as the months go by, you get $25 for your milestone of holding on to your job. We work with STAND for domestic violence and partner violence. Our GED prep is done by an employment coach. The training partners that we work with, Loaves and Fishes, Goodwill, more likely, and our family reunification, which is also ran by Centerforce. So here's our locations. Antioch location is ran by Julio Caceres. His address and phone number is noted there. I'm here in Concord, and John Cunningham works in our facility in Richmond. And our administrative office is also in Richmond at 2500 Bissell.
Thank you, Ron. There were a few questions for you in the chat. So I'm gonna flag that for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having us. I'm Mary Potts, the Division Director for Farm Worker Services under California Human Development. And today, myself and Juan Francisco Prieto and Santino Garcia are going to be talking about the services that we provide. Next slide. So California Human Development is a nonprofit organization, and we've been in existence since 1967. So it's been a while. Our mission is a human services organization that creates paths and opportunities for people in need to rise above barriers in their pursuit of better lives. And as you can see, our vision is to open doors, build strong communities, and improve lives. Next slide. Yeah. So under California Human Development, there are 4 divisions: affordable housing, community services, farm worker services, and immigration and citizenship. Today, you're going to hear from us from farm worker services and affordable housing. Next slide, please. So this is California Human Development service area. It's quite large, almost all of Northern California, 31 counties encompassed. The farthest south is San Joaquin, and the farthest north is Del Norte, up near the Oregon border. Next slide. So the Division of Farm Worker Services, we provide low-income individuals and other community members in need throughout CHDC's service area with access to employment, education, and training, plus emergency supportive services to help promote self-sufficiency for the client and for all of its family. Next slide, please. Within that large service area is our eastern region, which encompasses Contra Costa County. And in a few minutes, I'm going to have Juan Francisco Prieto talk specifically about the area. Next slide. So within the division, we have many programs. We also, just like Patty Zavala talked about, we have WIOA fundings, including our National Farm Worker Jobs Program. We also have the Dislocated Agricultural Program. We have also deal with the mainline WIOA, rapid response, other employment and training and emergency services types of programs. Within those programs, we have many services that we provide to qualifying individuals. That includes vocational training, for example, work experience, on-the-job training, the many services you see here listed. Next slide, please. So now I'm going to hand it over to Juan Francisco, and he's going to talk a little specifically about the area and the specific trainings. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Juan Francisco Prieto, and I cover the Eastern region. I'm the regional manager, and I embrace Sacramento, San Joaquin, Amador, Solano, and Contra Costa. And in Contra Costa, we are located in one of the access points, and this is in Brentwood. And Brentwood and adult education, at Liberty Adult Education. And we are close to the office for the AJCC in Brentwood in room 20. Our mobile office is close to this AJCC. And also, it's good that we're having these presentations because probably many of you are having farm workers, seasonals or migrants, then they are coming not from the state. Then they are migrating from Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas, even Texas, and then we can serve them. As Mary mentioned, we can provide services through the National Farm Worker Jobs Program, authorized by the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, Section 167. And the eligibility is the same as it was mentioned previously, which is people that needs to be 18 years or older, to have social security card, valid driver license or photo ID, right to work status, could be US passport or birth certificate, permanent resident card or work authorization or other, income taxes, W-2, unemployment records previous to the year that is coming the person, and recent check stubs from all employments and current unemployment record, GED or high school diploma if they have it, food stamps, medical card, free or reduced lunch letter from school-age children, WIC letter, and as well household information, their income tax or birth marriage certificate. And for men, we need also selected services status. Why we need all this? We need all this because probably the farm worker may qualify their dependents 18 and older for all the services that we provide. We're talking about employment or training. And one of the main trainings that we provide to our clients in Brentwood and other locations is welding. And welding is being taught at CHD Stockton Anthony Soto Employment and Training Center. We have this training, and it's 16 weeks of training, which is 600 hours. Classes are Monday to Friday from 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. And the best thing is that they can obtain from 2 to 5 certifications. We're talking about chill metal arc welding, gas metal arc welding, gas tungsten arc welding, and flat core arc welding. One of the important things that you need to know also is that our school is on the ETPL list. We are authorized to provide this training. Besides, we have truck driving training. And, next slide, please. Thank you, all right. Yes, our next training is truck driving. And this training, is Class A truck driving training. And this course description is, this course is for entry-level driving training. The course complies with all the federal and state commercial Class A educational requirements. And this is done in 240 hours. And these 240 hours are divided in 80 hours for theory instruction standard curriculum, behind the wheel range, 80 hours, and behind the wheel public road, 80 hours. And as well, we are serving clients as far as Sonoma, Solano, Sacramento, and of course, San Joaquin, and also Contra Costa. These are very competitive trainings, truck driving especially. As you know, before they needed 2 years experience. Right now, we have people then can get a job as soon as they finish their course. We have students, graduates, driving for Southwest. We're talking about Federal Express. We're talking about Home Depot. And as you see, when you go to Brentwood during the season, agricultural season, you will see these tractors, trailers, hauling tomatoes, hauling corn. Well, many of those drivers are or former students. And then there is information for any of you that would like to have information about these trainings and how you can enroll your participants. Now I give it the time to Mr. Santino Garcia.
Next slide.
Next slide.
And keep going. You can keep going. Yeah. Yeah, next slide. There we go.
I'll switch
Oh.
places with you.
Right.
All right. Morning, everyone. I'm Santino Garcia, Chief Operating Officer with California Human Development. And just going to give you a quick overview on, as Mary had mentioned, Farm Worker Services is a very large division. It's actually the biggest division that we have in our organization, but we also do community services and housing services. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of those programs that we run. So the first thing is the day labor centers. We actually operate 2 day labor centers in Sonoma County, one in Fulton and the other is in Healdsburg. And these day labor centers, what we do there is we put day laborers in contact with employers that are looking for laborers. So it's a really safe place for the day laborers to meet, rather than them having to go stand in front of like a Home Depot or a Lowe's waiting for someone to come and pick them up. They got a safe building where they get registered. We do intakes and not only connecting them with the employers, but also giving them information on workplace safety and also even work related information, job training and medical services, referrals basically to other community-based organizations that do this kind of work. So we have 2 of these day labor centers, as I mentioned, both in Sonoma County. Next slide, please. So just a little information on, who are day laborers. The clientele that we serve there, local immigrant, non-immigrant workers. They could come from all types of trades, anything from winery, vineyard, construction, landscaping, service workers in the restaurants. Many are first-time arrivals. They might be new to the county or even new to the state or even new to the country. Varying degrees of English, primarily though, it is, they're primarily Spanish speaking. Some we have that are even indigenous language speaking, and we help them. We have services to connect them to, agencies that do help them, specifically. We also have day laborers that come through a lot that are just kind of in transit. So they come in and we try to help them until they get to their, next location. Next slide, please. Housing services. We used to do, right now we're managing the properties that we own. We used to do quite a bit of development. But as many of you know, the climate for building housing in California has got pretty challenging. There's many things that are going on right now, high interest rates and just the cost to build housing. There was a recent article that came out that said that, the cost to build 1 unit in a multifamily housing project is close to $700,000. So you could imagine what that does to developers. Just the cost to build has gotten really, it's gotten expensive. And we were never a primary developer, but what you see on the screen is just a portfolio of what we own and manage. Parkway Plaza is elderly, but the other properties, and by the way, Parkway Plaza is in Solano County, Fairfield, 100 units for elderly folks and disabled folks. It is a wholly aged housing project, meaning you have to be age 62 and over. So anybody that knows of any seniors in Solano County, please refer them to us. Mahal Plaza is actually a farm worker housing project in Yuba City, Sutter County. Total of 98 units that was built actually in 3 phases. We have a community center there, which was built in 2003, was named after a long time board member, Joe Benatar, who actually helped us get the project built. One exciting thing I want to mention about Mahal Plaza, this is about HUD funded programs, but USDA funded this particular project, and USDA is basically funding low-income housing in rural communities. But we recently got approval to hire a service coordinator at this project. And USDA had been slow to adopt the service coordinator model. HUD has been doing it for decades. But we're pretty excited that we're going to have a service coordinator linking services for the farm workers that live at this project. So anybody that has rural housing, you may want to consider, if it's funded by USDA, looking into the prospect of getting a service coordinator in your program budget. This was the first year we've been able to do that. Pretty excited about it. The next is H Plaza, 11 single family homes in Kelseyville. This is in Lake County. I mean, you can see that on the picture on your screen, it's the one on the lower left. These are actually separate houses that they're kind of on a weird footprint. The reason for that is it was actually a rehab project. Originally, they were fishing cabins that farm workers lived in. No electricity, no running water, really run down, just awful, deplorable living conditions. So we approached HCD back in the early 90s and got a rehabilitation loan and some Joe Cerna funding, some HCD funding to build this housing. So we recently have rehabbed it with NFJP housing funding and got them looking almost brand new again. So we're pretty excited about that. And then our last one on this slide is Ortiz Plaza. That's the most recent project it's actually the last project that we developed, co-developer. It's a USDA tax credit project built in 2014, 30 units, also USDA funded. So it has subsidy and it's for farm workers. The eligibility is you have to have a minimum $5,800 in farm worker income, and the primary head of household has to also have legal status. So that's one of the things about that program. Okay, next slide. All right, we also have Napa County Farm Worker Centers. These are all in Napa Valley. And so if you can go to the next slide, I'll tell you a little bit of information on that program. So the Napa Farm Worker Centers, these are for unaccompanied workers. The other projects that I mentioned are year-round, and it's permanent housing. These centers are open 11 months out of the year, and primarily we serve unaccompanied workers. We always keep at least one center open, so that one center closes, we can rotate those that want to stay year-round to another center. They pay $16 a day. This is a very unique model in the state of California, and that it's actually a partnership between Napa County and the vintners. So the growers are invested in this. They pay right now between $10 to $15 per acre through a CSA, Community Service Assessment Tax, in order to fund this. We also recently got funding from the state of California. So it's a pretty important program. A lot of times what you hear from people is, hey, do we want to do this type of model of housing? Do we want to do permanent housing? What's better? And the answer to that is simply both, because the need is there to serve both populations. So this is a very good program, solid program. We typically are at full occupancy between April and through harvest in October. Next slide, please. And for me, that's it.
Thank you. And I think there might have been a few comments in the chat. Thank you. All right. I don't know if Rosalina is here. I was trying to look in the participants. Maureen, do you see her in the participant list? If not,
No, I don't see her. Wow.
okay.
Okay. Ah.
Well, we have slides for her
Yes.
presentation. Oh, did I hear yes? Somebody's here.
Let me
Are
see.
you asking for Rosalinda Aparicio?
Nope. Rosalinda Rosas from Job Corps.
Oh, sorry.
No worries. I know you probably heard your name and you were like, oh no, am I getting called out? No, you're good. Okay, we're gonna, I don't know that if there's anybody else here from her team. Okay, so I think the slides will be included. She was gonna talk about the Treasure Island Job Corps Center, which is specifically for transition aged youth. And let me double check, but I think her contact information is here at the end, so you can reach out if you have transition aged youth you're working with. Let me just make sure. Sorry.
I'm
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
see if I can call her.
Okay. And we'll move to Joe. And if she is able to make it, then we will come back to her. And Joe, if you're here, which I think you were.
Hey, yeah, I'm
There we
here.
go. Great. I will start your slide.
Awesome. Thank you. Hello, everybody. I am Joe Irving. If you don't know me already, I am the local Veterans Employment Representative here in Contra Costa County. And I'm going to talk to you guys today about the EDD Jobs for Veterans State Grants Program, which is abbreviated as JVSG. I'm going to actually teach you a lot of abbreviations today. But that's just kind of how government programs work. I'm sure we all know that. So what you see now in front of you is the employment process. There's 4 steps. If I say something 3 times, it's probably because you should remember it. At the end of this, we're going to ask you a couple questions to test you guys' memory to see who gets it. So this is the employment process. There's 4 steps. This is the employment process. There's 4 steps. This is the employment process. There's 4 steps. Intake, you meet your DVOP, you meet your leaver, and employment is the goal. Next slide, please. What I'm going to cover for you guys is who we are here as the EDD JVSG team, what our purpose is, what we do, what's our mission, and how we're going to do that, the way we're going to execute it, and the way that you can help us, help you, help us, helping each other, that big circle. First thing we're going to do, next slide, please, is going to be who we are. So this here is kind of our EDD family tree, just to kind of before we get into the JVSG team. With EDD, we have several branches. There's you see the unemployment insurance there, that second one from the left. That's the one that everybody thinks we are. Whenever they see my badge and they see that EDD logo, I get all those questions. Hey, what about my claims? So those are welcome. That's fine. I understand it comes with the territory. But we're actually the workforce services branch. You see the red arrow pointing there. We're in the business of putting people back to work. So after you're done with unemployment, after you're done with disability, all that other stuff, the tax branch that deals with the employers and stuff like that. But we're in the business of putting people back to work. You can find us at your local job centers. And most people don't know that, but that is our family tree, just to get you. So this is us. We're going to focus on the workforce services. Right? Could you go to the next slide, please? All right. So within the workforce services, we have different programs that will deal with different populations. There's the youth, the YEOP. There's, there's somebody for the justice involved, which is the reentry. We in the JVSG program, we are the veterans team. We focus on the veterans, which is the reason why we call it the JVSG program, is because that's the name of the grant that gives us the ability to help veterans and the money, the fundings to do these things. It's a federal grant that each state gets. We have, or sorry, it's not state specific, but it's awarded to each state. So everybody has the opportunity. Each state has the way they do it. California, they do it through EDD. So that's what gives me the authority to do my thing. We do career services, and uh, we help veterans with certain barriers to employment, put them back to work, and advocate for that as well. I'm going to explain more about this in the next slide. Could you go to the next one, please? All right, so that is kind of who we are. I'm gonna start getting into what we do. So remember in the first one, there was the intake, the DVOP, and then the lever. The DVOP, it stands for Disabled Veterans Outreach Program. Put an S on it, making a specialist. So this person is, they provide individualized career services. To put it in layman's terms, they work directly with the veteran. Directly with the person who's looking for a job, who's trying to get out of homelessness or whatever barriers they have out the way. And then you have the local veterans employment representative, me, my position. And if I didn't say it before, um, we work together. The DVOPs, they're actually county. They're on the call. So if I miss something, guys, please feel free to jump in and chime in. And my job here as a lever, the local veterans employment representative, is to advocate to employers and partners about the benefits of hiring vets, getting them involved in our CalJob system, which I'll explain later, and trying to do everything I can to help you employers and businesses, making your life easier to hire vets. And we'll get into that more later too. If you go to the next slide. There we go. So now we'll get more into the DVOP. So what they do is they provide services through individualized career services approach, which is when they get into us, they give them a comprehensive assessment, employment plan, and you finish it off with that consistent contact. Communication is what we need. Basically, it's not a hand-holding thing, but it's kind of like a guide. They're pretty much getting them through the thing that they got to do, keeping them organized, and they're making a plan, then a way to get that accomplished. It's kind of like, it's pretty much just counseling, career coaching, but a fancy word that we use in our government language. Basically, it's kind of a relationship building type thing. All the people that all the DevOps, they're all veterans, and so we all speak the same language, and so that helps us get things accomplished in a way that we're, it works. It's not somebody that doesn't understand what you're going through. Their thing, what I remember is, I'm sorry, 3 times the DevOps main focus is to remove barriers to employment. DevOps main focus is to remove barriers to employment. The DevOps main focus is to remove barriers to employment. Next slide, please. Okay, so barriers to employment. There's a long list of them, but this is just a few. I won't list them. One of them being homelessness, and the veterans, Vietnam veterans, those are special guys, and a lot of them, there's low income. There's, if you're recently unemployed, there's a lot of things, but these are what are considered by the government to be barriers to employment. They make things harder for people to get employed, and so it's the DevOps job to remove those things. So that's what I mean when I say that. Next slide, please. Okay, and like I said, the lever, what we do is promote the advantages of hiring the veterans. We do job fairs, hiring events, anything that we can do to make your life easier to hire vets, we're going to do. We'll put, I remember I had even just for BART, they can't hire you on the spot, but they had an information session that they did just to let people know how to apply and let them know the ways of getting through their application system, things like that. That's what the levers do on their side. Go to the next one, please. And this is the part of you helping us help you. Basically, we need partners to help us get things done. We don't have funding for everything. So we do partner with resources to help people remove those barriers. And we also do have training resources as well, which are on the right. Like I heard Rubicon earlier, we partner with them. We work in the same building as them through the WEO Act. We partner with Opportunity Junction, the Veterans Voc Rehab Program. These are just people that we use, that we partner with to get the job done, which is getting the veterans employed. You guys too, we want to partner with you, so please contact us. My information is in the chat. Next slide, please. So this is specifically the HVRP process, the Homeless Veterans Reintegration Program. This is a program that allows us to work directly with homeless veterans and to get them housed and partner with homeless agencies. We partner already with agencies like Shelter Inc. and Insight Housing, formerly Berkeley Food and Housing. And if you guys know of any other housing associations that are interested in getting the grant, we can give them information of how to apply for that and get approved for that, so we can work with them to get these vets in their housing places. Andrew, Chris, did you guys have anything else to add to this? This is just our referral process, our flow chart. If you ever run into a veteran that's homeless and looking for work, please send them our way. You can actually send them to our job center to do an intake process. Like I said, the first step is the intake, meet the DVOP, meet the leaver, and then get employed. Send them our way and we'll guide them through the process. We'll hook them up with somebody that'll get them signed up. Next slide, please. With the homeless, a lot of the times comes justice involved, the reentry program. So we do have programs that help with that too. We have the PACT meeting, the Parole and Community Team, another acronym. The first Thursday of every month, there is a meeting here. The parole officers are here, and there's resources there. I see a question popped up. DOL is Department of Labor. I'm sorry about that. We do work under the JVSG program. That is federal funding, which is managed by the Department of Labor. So I'm a state worker with funding from federal funds, and it's weird how that works. But yeah, that's what that means, Department of Labor. We do offer services for justice involved individuals because with homelessness, these problems do often arise. Expungement referrals, we refer people to Bay Area Legal. The federal bonding program, which is if you do have things on your record, the bonding program is a program to where it's actually insurance provided, federal insurance that'll ensure that the worker for the first 6 months, basically just enough to get them through some type of probation period. So if something happens, you're insured. After that, it's on you, but they got you for the first 6 months just to kind of ease that transition process. You can decide if you want to keep them or not in that point in time. Next slide, please. All right, here's the quiz. If anybody can raise their hands and answer, what is the 4 steps of the employment process? Or just put it in the chat, one of the 2 or 3. Remember, I said it 3 times. That means y'all supposed to remember it. Let's see who's our guy. Who's our person here? I don't see anybody in the chat yet.
I remembered that there were 4. I just don't remember what they are.
Go ahead. Go ahead and hit the. Yeah, it should pop up if you hit it again. Bam, there it is. All right. The 4 steps of the employment process is the intake. That's where you contact us or contact the job center or me or my DVOP associates. We will all figure out how to get you guys hooked up with somebody to get them into our program. You meet the DVOP, which is the 2 guys on the call here. Thank you, Christina. And I see the answers coming in now. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. You meet the DVOP, which is Andrew and Chris, one of the 2 of them. They're also on the call as well. After you guys meet with them, they remove all the barriers or have a plan to remove all the barriers, and you meet the leaver, which is me. And then you move on to employment process. The keys to it, go ahead to the next one, sorry. The next question is, what are the keys to a successful HVRP co-enrollment? I don't think I repeated that 3 times, so I'm gonna give you the answer. The one is communication, removing barriers, and getting employed. So those are the keys to a successful co-enrollment is communication. we need that communication to be able to remove those barriers and then eventually get them employed. Next slide, please. We are not in person, so we don't have handouts, so we can go to the next slide. And it's question time. Is there any questions that you guys have for me or my partners, Andrew and Chris? I may refer to you guys and answer some DVOT specific questions, but anybody have any questions? Move this out of the chat too.
Nuts.
Hey,
Being,
Joe,
let me
my
just
name
see.
is Angelo. I have a question for you.
Okay.
My question is, does the status of their DD 214 make a difference?
Not necessarily, no. There's different things that the DD 214 will get you qualified for. We do work with partners, and so every partner does have like kind of a different requirements, but we always say no matter what the status is, come talk to us. We'll figure it out. You know, we'll find you whatever we can get you qualified for. Because with some things it does matter, but a lot of things it doesn't. We can still help you out. Definitely.
Thanks.
No problem. No problem. And I'll put my information here in the chat just so everybody has it. If you guys don't, if you forget something, feel free to reach out to me, contact me, give me a call or a text at the cell phone number as well. So if you guys want to text me something real quick, ask me a question, that's fine too.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe. And oh, go ahead.
I was just going to add, I'm one of the DevOps that works with Joe, Andrew Herrera. And just besides the veterans, some spouses may also qualify for services, depending upon if the veteran is either service-connected disabled, maybe 100%, or deceased due to his active duty service. So again, for those of you out there who might have spouses of vets, that you can refer them to us and we can do the intake and find out to see if they do qualify. And again, Joe went over some of the significant barriers that do qualify them for us. Again, I'll go over maybe a couple of them. You know, if they're between the age of 18 to 24, that's one. If they have a service-connected disability rating, if they're homeless. Those are some of the general significant barriers that they have in order to qualify for our services. So great job, Joe. Appreciate you. And again, we're out there to serve the veterans community, so please refer them to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. I really appreciate you. And I also, so I did not give this shout out at the top of the hour, but Maureen Nelson, who is with the Workforce Development Board, was actually very instrumental in helping put this whole panel together. And she is the reason why we now have Rosalina in the room to do her presentation, because there was an issue logging on and Maureen, bless her, went and helped find her. So with that, thank you, Maureen. And I want to turn things over to Rosalina. And then at the end of her presentation, we'll have a little bit more time for questions.
Good morning.
So Rosalina,
thank you, Ms. Jamie.
You tell me when you want the next slide.
Okay, I'll give you like the thumbs up. All right, good morning, beautiful people. My name is Ms. Rosalina Rosas. She's saying my name with the rolling of the R. So I am going to be speaking on the youth component. So Treasure Island Job Corps, just want to give you a little history. We actually been on Treasure Island. We just hit our 25-year mark here. And Job Corps actually just hit their 60th years in the making since 1964. So it's working. So I'm just so excited to present this program for you guys. So just know that this program is absolutely free. So we'll do the thumbs up. All right, so Job Corps is a career training program for young adults. It actually was designed for at-risk youth, but I don't like the word at-risk. I like at-promise. So we work with young adults between the ages of 16 and 24, and it works different ways. It works for high school graduates. It works for students that are going to be getting kicked out, or maybe they're low on credits, that they need to come get a diploma. It works for students that don't do well in a traditional high school. And it also works for the students that maybe got a degree from a college or university, but they're having problems looking for a job in the workforce. So they'll come here to get some training. So this program is a zero cost program, so they don't have to pay anything. So our goal is to make sure they are employable, making sure they have all the skills to be successful in the workforce. All right, so we are federally funded by Department of Labor, so us taxpayers pays for the program. So each student gets free training, free housing, so they don't have to pay for rent, water, trash, utilities. They don't even got to pay for toilet paper, because you guys know toilet paper is expensive nowadays, right? So they don't have to pay for absolutely nothing. They do get clothing, so we do provide uniforms for them. They get all meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and we do provide transitional funds. So this is the money that we provide them once they are getting ready to complete the program. We have a variety of support services here. So I'm the first person they meet. Then once they meet me, they will have an assigned career counselor. We do provide basic medical and dental for these students. So they need to get free teeth cleaning. We got that taken care of. New glasses, we got that taken care of. We also provide independent living and career transitional support. So the transitional support is when they're getting ready to graduate from the program, and we're helping them, making sure they got a job before they leave the program. So the room ratio is normally from 18:1. All right, so these are the free benefits. I think I just went over them. They also get driver license education. So for those students that are 18 years of age and older, they get to learn how to drive behind the wheels training. We also provide clothing allotment. The clothing allotment is to buy professional outfits for job interviews. They do get a bi-weekly stipend. So they even get an allowance besides everything being free. They receive $45 every 2 weeks, and it gets deposited into a debit account that we assign them. Also, when they're in the program 6 months plus, they get paid $70 every 2 weeks. So they get to do whatever they want with this money. I always tell them, you guys need to be in Operation Stackola, because by the time they graduate, the little money they receive is not going to be even a lot of money. So Operation Stackola. Placement services, that is the goal. So we want to make sure all of the students get placed in a job. All right, so to be eligible for Job Corps, this is very important. They have to be 16 to 24, not yet 25. If I have a young adult who is 26 years of age, the only way we can waive their age if they have a documented disability. It could be like maybe mental health, or they have an IEP or 504 plan, but they still have to be under the low income threshold. For minors, parents have to agree for them to be in Job Corps. So if the parent is forcing the student to come here and the student is telling me they don't want to be here, they will not be even being considered. Like, you know what? She's not ready, so let's move forward. They do have to meet the low income guideline. So as we all know, in California, any minor in California get free or reduced lunch. If you provide me a letter from their high school that they receive free or reduced lunch, automatically qualify from Job Corps. Even if the parent's making 100K, just that letter will suffice. So it's very important. But what happens when they are 20 years old living with parents? As long as the parents do not claim the young adult, they will still qualify for Job Corps. So very important. So as long as they have, it's pretty much they have to be on government assistance. Foster youth automatically qualify. All we need is a letter that they receive services, even for AB 12. Homeless students automatically qualify as long as they receive a letter from the shelter, or we can verify that they're living in their car. So it's very important. They must not have any serious criminal history or anything outstanding. So they have to be clear with obligation, which is restitution, fines, community service, pending court dates, on probation or parole. Everything is a case by case. If a young man was previously incarcerated and it's a felony, Job Corps will work with them. They just have to provide documentation. They must be a U.S. citizen or legal resident or a lawful admitted immigrant. So if my Latino community, for those that are undocumented, they're not eligible for Job Corps unless they have the work permit or permanent residency. So that's very important. And their residency card or the authorization to work cannot be expiring within the next 6 months. So it has to be an active card. So. Okay, so every Job Corps student goes through a transition. Phase 1 is outreach and admissions. Phase 2 is career preparation period. So it's kind of like orientation for the students. They have to go through a 4 to 6 week phase. Once they're done with the 4 to 6 week phase, during this whole time, they're working towards, they get physical examinations, they do get drug tested. They have to take a tape test, which is math and reading, and it's a 12th grade test. And it's kind of like a placement test to see where they're at. And during this time, they actually get to shadow their career path. So they're going to be going through a 4 to 6 weeks. Once they're done with 4 to 6 weeks, they go on to phase 3, which is career development period. That's where they spend 90% of their time here at Job Corps. So we do bi-weekly schedule. They might be focused 2 weeks on trade and then 2 weeks on their academics, depending on where they're at. If they're high school graduates and if they do not pass this math and reading test, they will still be assigned to academics, academic training. Once they're done with phase 3, they move on to phase 4. So 70% when they're ready to graduate, they will be connected with a specialist who's going to fine tune their resume, doing all those mock interviews, and they're going to start doing their job search. All right, so my students that live in Oakland or San Francisco only have the choice to live on and off campus, but they have to be 18 years of age and older. So my folks that live in Contra Costa County, they will have to live on campus, but they get to go home every weekend, every holiday, and they do get 2 weeks winter break. We are still a closed campus, so that means Sunday through Thursday, they're not allowed to go take the 25 bus and go into San Francisco or relax. It is still a closed campus, unfortunately. The only way they'll be able to go off campus if they earn leisure time employment. So they will have an opportunity to have a part-time job in the city, and then they can come back and forth. So I'll be answering questions after. Thank you. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and skip this one. We just talked about this one. Thank you, Ms. Jamie. All right, so these are all the careers that we offer, folks. So building construction technology is the new name of facility maintenance. So this is the Jack and Jill of all trade. It incorporates a little bit of carpentry, electrical, landscaping, HVAC, which is heating and ventilation, a little bit of tile floor setting. So these students get to learn a little bit of everything. Carpentry is one of the highest paying job we have here, and it is part of a union, which is United Brotherhood. So what I mean is part of the union, that means the student being trained is part of the union, which is United Brotherhood. So they automatically go straight into the job. So ours is considered pre-apprenticeship program. So they're going to get all their certifications here. The same thing with cement masonry. It's part of the union as well. Instructor is part of the union. As we all know, cement plays a big role in any building. Before you start building, you need to have your foundation. So that's very important trait. Electrical is not part of the union only because to get into the union for electrical, you do have to pass a test. And I believe it's probably like the top 30. If you don't pass the test for electrical, you don't get into the union. But the good thing about Job Corps is, regardless of that, we have connection, partnership that we can still get students employed. And we always encourage our students to still go ahead and take that union test. Plastering is also part of the union here in Treasure Island. It comes in different colors, texture, form. They do lathing preparation, crown molding. So this could be a year-round job because it can be indoors and outdoors. Office administration, you can actually be done in 6 months. So these are my students that maybe want to be entrepreneurs, go into business management. So they get to learn Word, Excel, PowerPoint to get a typing certification. And if they complete this trade, they will have an opportunity to go into City College of San Francisco for the cybersecurity trade. So that's one of our advanced programs that we have here. Clinical medical assistant, they must be 18 today with a high school diploma or a GED. This is a state certification that we are preparing them for. So they get to learn front and back office, EKG. They do get phlebotomy training, but not certified. And they also get the EKG training here as well. The nursing program, The good thing about the nursing program that students that are not 18, they actually can be enrolled here at 16. So my young ladies that are young men that really want to get into the medical field, but they don't meet the clinical medical assistant requirement, we have them do the nursing program. So this one, they can actually be done in 4 months. So they get CPR and first aid certified. It's kind of more like cleaning the patient, transportation and preparation is more hands-on. Security and protective services, they have to be 17 and a half years of age today with no criminal record. If they do have a criminal record, must be expunged and sealed. They are going to get trained in using a baton. They get first aid, CPR certified. They also get guard cards, which can cost from $100 to $300. The Job Corps pays for all of this. Culinary arts, these are my students who have a passion for food. They want to work for a 5-star restaurant. They want to work for Disney cruise. They want to get into those fields. So I always tell my students, please do not go into culinary to benefit how to cook for yourself. Because at the end of the line, we're trying to employ them in this area. So we have one advanced program here where they get to learn how to do baking and pastry and bistro style. So we get students throughout the nation to come to Job Corps just for additional training for that. Oh, I forgot to mention, if there's a career that the student wants to do and we don't offer it here, we can send them to another Job Corps center. I forgot to mention, we have like over 121 centers nationwide, all the way from Hawaii to Puerto Rico. All right, folks, so the academic students have to take this math and reading test. Our high school program is actually now Citizen program, so it's an online credit recovery program. So we have subjects that they have to do as well. A student that comes with 0 Job Corps credits, 0 credits, they can get their diploma as quick as 15 months. It is a self-paced program. They technically have up to 3 years to complete everything in Job Corps, but normally an average stay probably like 15 months or so. All right, so career transition period. So when students are getting ready to graduate, they can go into college preparation. We also have advanced programs out of state. They can go into the military. They do internships and externships. Some are paid, some are not paid. They start getting prepared for the interview preparation and the job market. Okay, so these are all the career success standards that student must learn, and these are all important not only for us, but for students. So every week they're gonna get a career success standard. So everybody needs to know about workplace, relationship and ethics, interpersonal skills, personal growth and development, independent living, career and personal planning, communication, multicultural awareness, and information management. So every week they get a standard and the student gets to practice and model that throughout the week. All right, beautiful folks. So here they have extra benefits. So we have advanced training opportunities. We do have work-based learning opportunities as well. So we have internships, apprenticeship program. We do have recreational here. We have leadership. We have student government association. So we believe all of our students are leaders. They just need to learn how to build those leadership skills. All right, so now let's talk about a little bit of life on campus. So my campus has a capacity to hold 532 students. So right now we're at 370. So a little history about our facility. We used to belong to the U.S. Naval Station. So where they live, that's where they're staying at. So they do have a roommate, is 2 people per room, 4 do share a restroom. Okay, so they are responsible for cleaning their room. We have responsibilities. They do have dorm meetings. We have a laundry facility free of charge, so they don't have to pay to wash their clothes. We do provide detergent for them, no fabric softener. And if they don't like what we supply, they're welcome to bring their own supplies as well. We do have a safe storage to keep all of their stuff locked up. We do give them a whole new bedding set. They don't have to pay for cleaning supplies. Everything is taken care of. Number 2, we understand our students are working so hard for Job Corps. We have a gymnasium, indoors gym. We have a weight and cardio room. We have a game room, recreational field trips. We do have an urban farm. We have a couple of clubs here. We also have a basketball team that competes with other Job Corps centers. Cafeteria, they don't have to worry about cooking. I always say it's not your mom and pop's cooking, but the food is good. If I can eat it, you can eat it too. So 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Vegetarian option. They don't have to eat with it. It's not on the menu. We have a salad option, all you can eat. What we mean by all you can eat is you get to pick one protein, eat whatever. You have to come back in line and get another protein. So they won't give you like all 3 proteins right there. We do also have hot snacks. So between 7:30 and 8:30 p.m., students can go back to the cafeteria and get hot snacks. All right. Am I good on time?
I say like maybe 2 or 3 more minutes, and then we're going to open for questions for
Okay,
all the
perfect.
presentations.
All right. We're almost done. We're almost done. Okay. I know my presentation is long. So we have rules and regulations, beautiful people. So we expect our students to be treated as employees here. That's what they call trainees, not students. So they do have to follow rules. And we go more in depth with the students on that. All right, this is your commitment to success. All we ask the students is to follow policies. Easier said than done. They have challenges waking up early, getting to class on time. We ask them to be focused. We always say this is Job Corps. This is not Love Corps. You're not here to find your future husband and wife, but if you get involved in a relationship, please be mature about your business. Take pride in your center. Have a positive attitude. We all know, even in the work environment, all my beautiful people here and the students, positive attitude is the best, but you know, you're going to have those days that you're going to struggle, but you just have to keep pushing through. So we try to encourage our students in the real workforce. You're not going to always like your coworkers, right? The thing is, you need to learn how to get along with them and take care of business. So I always tell them, don't let nobody get in your way of you making your money. Take care of business. Making joining Job Corps your choice. You know, this program is an at-will program. You're not forced to come here. They can come here when they are ready, and it is a year-round program. Be open to change. The world is constantly changing, whether we like it or not. We just got to go with the flow. And that makes joining Job Corps your success. So we are done. Oh, we can skip this one. These are just documentations for you.
I'll make that quick. No.
Yay. So there's a couple of questions here that I see. Yes. Angela, I'll go ahead and put my information on the chat so you can contact me.
Appreciate it.
So Rachel said, if an applicant isn't eligible for Job Corps due to system involvement, immigration status, do you provide referrals? You know what, my referral, I don't have direct referrals, but I always refer them to like Contra Costa community that they have resources and stuff. That's my challenge for my the community who are undocumented. Okay, Jacqueline Franco said, do they receive a case management or housing navigation? They do have, we follow them up to a whole year. When it comes to housing, as you know, that it's very expensive. So they try to assist them, but we don't provide funds for the housing. So we try to make sure they try to save their money for the housing. Is there some training for commercial painting? We don't offer painting like we used to a couple of years ago. I'm not sure if they still offer it at a different Job Corps center. If they do offer commercial painting, we can refer them to another Job Corps center. You just have to go to the Job Corps website and see what other career paths. Let's see. Okay, thank you, Maureen. She answered that. All right.
How long is the program? One more question came in. How long is the program?
The program is 9 to 12 months, max 3 years. So it's self-paced. A student who has a documented disability might take a little bit longer. I forgot to mention, we do accommodate students who have learning disability, IEP, 504 psychological evals. So I think that's about it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, beautiful people. I'll put my information on the chat.
Awesome.
Rosalina, I have one question
Rosalina,
for you.
yes.
Can you help youngsters that are undocumented?
They have to be documented. They already have they have to have their employment card, authorization to work in the US, because we are a government program.
Okay.
I will say this question has come up a bunch, and we did a training a couple of months back about how to support clients that you're working with that are not documented. So I'm going to drop the link to that chat in here. I don't remember how much specifically focused on employment, but there were a bunch of resources for that training. So I'm gonna drop that in the chat. I also wanted to just like open up. I know that was just like a tsunami of information. Are there questions that didn't get answered from previous speakers? I know there were things happening in the chat and want to see if all those got answered. So just going to leave this open for a minute if folks have questions for any of the previous speakers.
Jamie, I actually put a question in there, but it may have been missed. I just wondered if someone from Mount Diablo could talk about the placement rate for the EMT program, because I think it's 100%. We have a
Yes, I'm here. Thank you. That was a lot of good information. Yes, we have a very good placement rate. Our goal always is at least 80%. Our programs, we have national accreditation for most of our programs. EMT doesn't meet the hours requirements for that, but 80% is our goal, and we have had in the first 2 cohorts, yes, we've had close to 100% placement. We have graduated 2 cohorts previously, and we have 2 new cohorts which are enrolled, many of them WIOA qualified applicants and enrollees. We have 2 new cohorts of 40 for 24-25.
job placement. I should say the word job.
Job, yes, placement. That is our goal, is 80%, but yes, we have had 100% placement in the first cohorts.
Thank you.
Did I answer your question, Maureen?
Yes.
Thank you.
Other questions? I also want to note, I put a link to a quick survey we do to see how this training went for folks. Before you hop off, we'll ask you to just take a minute and do that. Any other questions? Looking for hands. We'll leave some awkward silence.
I think you mentioned that you're going to be sending the slides, but curious, is all the speakers' contact information going to be provided? So we can reference back whenever we have questions.
I think they are on the slides. I will double check that. Yes. Good question. Anybody else? Thank you all so much. I know this was a lot for the speakers. They were getting a million emails from me. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. You now have 8 minutes of your life back. I'm gonna hang out and leave the space open if anybody wants to hang out, but otherwise I release you to your lives.
Yes, and thank you for me. Thank you, all presenters.
Thank
And Maureen, oh my gosh, Maureen, thank you. She was the one that coordinated all the presenters and went and found everybody. So as always, thank you, Maureen. And don't forget, if you're not already getting information about our Homeless Workforce Integration Network meetings, we have meetings 3 times a year where we are bringing together workforce and homeless services to just try and better connect. So I will look for those meetings in your CoC emails from me. Thank you all. All right, I think I'm going to close this out. Thank you, everybody. Have a good Monday.